What's up again, everybody? How's it going? It's Carpo here in the Raw. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Stockholm syndrome that seems to be gripping society as a whole. First off, I guess I should start off by saying what I'm talking about here is they call in psychology or in various circles the mere exposure effect. It's also just basically, by definition, it's the mere exposure effect is whatever you're exposed to over a long period of time, you develop a relationship with and end up relating to that when you see it, even if it's something originally that's foreign to you. So what happens is you originally see something, it's novel. Novelty means new. So you see something that's novel, at first you're distant, and then you move in slowly. I mean, you can see the metaphor for it, and then gradually you bite, and then it becomes part of your life. This is so common we don't even realize it's happening. When I read about it, I instantly compared it to what they call Stockholm syndrome. And this is when a captive, a person who is kidnapped, for example, starts to develop feelings of empathy towards their captors. And they can even develop an animosity towards the police when they're trying to save them, or towards authorities. Now, when you're with someone for a long period of time, you can develop a relationship, regardless of whether or not they have you in a cage. I mean, prisoners do it with guards all the time, but that's different, because the guards and the prisoners aren't directly related. It's not the guard's fault the prisoner's in there. But when it comes to a kidnapping, and you develop a relationship with somebody who you know kidnapped you, I mean, it shows how the brain works. Well, this mere exposure effect is something that we develop a kind of a tribal atmosphere around, and eventually we develop a pride for our group or our team. We see this in sports, and we see this in politics, but we don't see it as closely when it comes to simple opinions and value judgments about different policies that our countries have and whatnot. In other words, a person may not really stand behind what they think they stand behind. They just do because they've had the exposure to it. That's what they've grown up with. That's what they've been affected. It seems obvious, but when you take a hit at these things, it can hurt a person's self-esteem. And self-esteem is the most crucial thing we have to help keep us from basically backlash towards a person. If we feel a person is trying to harm us in a mental way and really hurt our feelings, if you will, that's something that we don't stand for as humans. And so most people will back away from that and distance themselves from that. So we have to realize that if our ego is overactive, our self-esteem is hurt all the time. We get what we call butt hurt, and people get hurt over stupid little things. And we're living in a time right now where with what's going on with the sensitivity in PC culture, which is something I'm going to be doing a video on shortly, but I haven't done yet. I've been putting it off for days. This idea that we can judge others and put ourselves into a category and a grouping and say, you are this and you are that, and I'm better than you because I'm a vegan, or because I'm a right-winger or a left-winger, or whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. Everybody has value judgments for their own reasons, but we have to realize at the root, most of us want good things for ourselves, for our families, for our country, and for other families. Nobody just wants everything to be falling apart, and nobody wants everything to be perfect. But there are a few, but my idea is that utopia is dead. I mean, I've spoken about it over the years, but there's no real utopia. Once you understand that concept, you realize that it's all in here, and that it's not out there. It's not external. It never will be. We have to find that for ourselves. So, here's what happens. We have small changes in our lives, what we call novelty boosts, and those kind of help us move forward, if you will, or what I call novelty boosts, which can help us to, look over here and look over here and experience new things. The only thing that's going to bring us together as a society is to discuss things with one another on a rational basis. This means that me, the independent person who has had my opinions about politics, I have to be willing to talk to a Trump supporter, for example, face to face, and understand where they're coming from without being biased towards them. And that took me a while to learn. I'll admit that I was a little bit more involved, like the average person during these last political, this last election. But I've had time to cool my jets and really think about this and say, well, no, I still don't like the man, but it doesn't mean I can't like and understand the other people who voted for him or the reasons why. Because ultimately, the president will come and go. The people I live with in my neighborhood, my communities, those are the people that I have to live with forever, if you will. Or distance myself. But I choose to understand my fellow man because I believe that we are smarter as a whole. We understand things better when we respect one another's viewpoints. And that we can only get better by, realizing many of these things of what's going on. And how we get to these points by having this mere exposure effect. By you and I have been exposed to certain things in our lives, and it causes us to feel a certain way, and it's okay to change our minds about things. So, when you're ready to change your mind, it's okay to let go of old preconceived notions as long as we have better information to replace it. So I hope that came across clear and concise. Hope you all have a wonderful day. If I missed anything, I'll surely include it in a future video. Thanks everybody. Thanks to my patrons. Thanks to my subscribers. Leave a comment. All that fun shit.